Hello Year 2 designers, back again. Now we're going to look at top tips for actually building and constructing our winding mechanism, for which we need a handle, an axle and a wheel. So the first thing to do is select your wheel, in this case the cotton reels, and make sure your stick fits inside. I think I'm going to go for a thicker stick and a plastic cotton reel. So that's my wheel and that's my axle chosen. Now I need to cut my axle to size. It needs to fit across the box and have a bit sticking out each side. If it's too short, it will just fall out. So I'm just going to measure. Can you see it's roughly a ruler's width either side extra. If I made it too small, it would fall out, as I said. I'm also putting a little arrow on. That's telling me I want that side of the wood, not this side of the wood. That's just a little tip there. Now we're going to use this little tool. We're going to use a saw, which is very sharp, so we've got to be careful. And we're going to use this. This is a way of holding our stick, our piece of wood, and cutting a straight line across. So there's lots of little holes cut in there, which you're going to put the saw in. And what I want you to do is line up your pen line with one of the little holes, and you put your saw in either side and you cut down. You'll probably want to sand the end off of that, so I'll put a bit of sandpaper in for you as well. But there you go. We check it and it's fine. It's not going to be too small. Now we need to put some holes into our box. Now you can use a hole punch where you stick it down on your cardboard and you clip a little hole in. The other way of making a hole, you've done this before when you were doing your lanterns, is make a little pinhole and then you can poke something a bit bigger like this chopstick through. And you can wiggle it in and make sure it fits. So there you go. I think I'm going to use the plasticine and the chopstick method to make my hole. So I'm just putting it underneath. I'm measuring down about 3 centimetres. It doesn't have to be exact. I just don't want it too near the top, because if it's too near the top it could split. And I'm just poking in a hole with my pin and then chopstick, and I'm wiggling it in, and I'm going to check in a moment that my axle, my little stick, can go through. And I want to get it roughly the same height down, so I'm doing 3 centimetres, but again it doesn't matter as long as it's the same-ish on both sides. I poke my hole in and we're ready now to try poking through our axle. There we go, through one hole and then through the other. Check it snugly fits and it can twist. Perfect. There we go, that's our axle in place. Now we're going to put on our wheel, our cotton reel in this case. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our string ready. We want our string to be longer than the length of the box, because we definitely don't want it to be too short that it can't pull the handle the way up. We then attach the string to the wheel. I've used some tape. You could, there's lots of different types of tape you could use. I advise you don't use glue, because the glue could stick the other times that you loop the string around. But you roll that around and then you poke it onto your axle. Now that's great. The only problem is it's not a perfect fit, so you're going to need to stop the wheel from turning separately to the axle. So you need to stick the wheel onto the axle. So I'm using a bit of blue tack on one end and a bit of plasticine on the other. You can try whatever you feel works best. You can also use sellotape or tape just to stop it, and maybe even you could try using the pipe cleaners. But you want to make sure that the wheel is stuck to the axle so that it can turn properly. Now the last part of our winding mechanism is a handle to put on the end of our axle. And I'm going to show you a few different ways you can do this. This is one idea of lolly sticks, but you can really play and work out your own ideas on this. I'm using a bit of blue tack to hold a lolly stick onto the axle, and then I'm taping the 2 lolly sticks together, and I'm using some of the electrical tape to do that. It's a nice plastic tape, good and strong. And I'm just doing a little piece at the bottom, and I'll do some at the top as well. And you could decorate the whole thing with tape if you wanted to. You see how that works as a handle? That's nice. You could draw on that as well to decorate it, make it look fancy. Or as I say, cover it all with tape. I'm going to just take that off for now and show you another way. Here's a simple method, a peg. That holds on all by itself, so you might want to use a peg, but you can decorate that peg, make it look fancy if you want to, colour it all in. But that's a simple handle. Then we could use cardboard. There's different ways of using cardboard. So I drew around a circle, and I drew around a hexagon as well. And I put those on. And you could sort of twist that as your handle if you want to. Do you get the idea there? You could decorate that as well. Nice colours and things. And here's another way of doing a handle. You sort of make an L shape at the bottom of a piece of cardboard. You then snip that out, but you don't cut across the top bit. You leave that bit. You just cut around all the other edges. And then once that's removed, you fold it over and then you draw around it again. This means you're going to have a piece that's exactly the same on each side. So I'm just going to snip around there. Again, I'm not going around the top because I like that to be joined. You see how that's like a C shape, that when you fold it makes an L shape, and that is what I think I'll use for my handle. Again, I'm going to use a bit of blue tack. You can use glue to stick this down, but I'm just doing it quickly, so I'm going to use blue tack. But I think that worked quite well. And I'm just putting some on the top there, and I'm folding it together. And again, I think I'll decorate it with some tape, hold it all together. I'm going to do some masking tape on there, or I could then cover it with different coloured tape or colour it in, however you fancy. That's great. I decided to do it with some electrical tape, and that's my handle done. I'm even going to write turn on it. You don't have to do this, but I just thought it'd be quite fun. And that is our fantastic winding mechanism done, except look, it can fall out of the other end. The handle stops it falling through this end, but this end it could fall out. So we need to find a way to stop it moving. So you could maybe use a bit of cardboard stuck on. You could maybe twist around a pipe cleaner so that it can't fall out of the hole. Do you see there? It won't fall through the hole there, because that's tightly in the way. Or how about, you could use a rubber band and put it on several times. That's it. Let's get that round and round. And then that stops it falling through. Okay, there we go. So we've got a handle, an axle, we've got our wheel with our string, and we've got a little stopper. That's what I want you to build today.